Alex here from Japanese Masters, and today we are going to go over Lesson 1, Part 4 of Minna No Nihongo. That is noun mo. Okay, let's go ahead and dive right on into this. Okay, as you can see here, we have noun mo, or in mo. In English, this translates to in is also. It can also mean something like in am also, as in I am also, or noun are also, as in they are also, or we are also, or you are also. This seems like it could be a little bit complicated because we do have a particle right here. And particles are difficult for Westerners. But don't worry, it's really not that complicated. Let's go ahead and break down this structure. Okay, this structure has only really two parts. Your first part is your noun. That is the in. This is the noun that is also something. The second part of this is mo. Mo is the particle that basically means also. And it is going to replace wa. You'll see what I mean with that in the first example. But mo is a particle that when it's used, it can be used to replace a lot of particles, but normally it replaces the particle. Sometimes it does go after the particle, but that's not really important in the early stages of Japanese. That comes into play with a little bit more advanced grammar. But a lot of times mo is going to replace the particle. And in this case, it does. It's going to replace wa. All right, let's go ahead and go through an example so you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. Here is the first example. He is a teacher. I am also a teacher. As you can see, kare wa sensei desu. Watashi mo kyoshi desu. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is that we have teacher, teacher here, but then we have sensei and kyoshi. The reason for that is that sensei is an honorific term for teacher. So if you're talking about yourself, you're not going to use sensei. It sounds a little arrogant. So this is just the less formal way to say teacher. This is when usually referring to yourself, you'll call yourself a kyoshi, not a sensei. Okay, let's go ahead and dive on into the grammar. As you can see, these sentences are basically identical, except as you notice here, like I said, wa is replaced with mo. So this is saying he is a teacher. This is saying I am also a teacher. So it takes on the same meaning as the particle it replaces, but it also adds the also to it at the end. And then, of course, you know, kare is he and watashi is I from previous lessons. But yeah, I hope you can see right now that it's really not that hard. You just replace wa with mo, and it becomes am also instead of just am. Okay, let's go ahead and go through the next example. The next example is I am a student. He is also a student. As you can see, this one is basically identical to the sentence before. This time, though, we have gakusei and gakusei because there's no honorific term for a student. So you should be able to see that these sentences are basically identical except for the mo here and the wa here. Like I said, all it does is it replaces it and it changes it from is or am into is also. So here we have watashi wa gakusei desu, kare mo gakusei desu. It's as simple as that. There's really not much to this. Let's go ahead and go on to our last example. Our last example has a little bit of a colloquial variance when using mo. I'll explain that in a second. Let's just go through the sentence to start. I like cats. Me too. That is, boku wa neko ga suki desu. Ore mo. As you can see here, we have neko, which means cat. We have boku, which I've described before as the personal pronoun for males that males like to use. And then we have ore. Ore is the also male personal pronoun, but this one's a lot less formal than boku. This one's very, very intimate and close. Okay, so then we have this little structure here, ga suki. We haven't gone over this yet, and this is for a later lesson. Just know right now that this means to like or like something. So this phrase right here, whatever's before it is what you like. So cat, like. So I like cats. And then here is the part where it gets a little bit more complicated. As you notice, there's nothing after it. There's just the exclamation point. Well, if you want to talk in a more colloquial way, you don't have to just repeat this at the end of the sentence. Why? Because it's already implied. If you say ore mo neko ga suki desu, people already know that from the mo particle. The mo particle in itself means also, that you also like cats from right here. So you can just go ahead and cross this whole thing out and just put mo at the end of it. Now this one, of course, will not be as polite as this one, but this one is pretty decently used in Japan, in formal and informal situations. It's a quick way to say me too, basically, or yeah, me too, me also, whatever the grammatical situation would be. So yeah, so just remember that you don't have to put this whole long thing after it because it's already implied with the mo particle. You can just put mo and then end the sentence. That is actually going to do it for today's lesson. It's a rather short lesson because there's really only one thing you really need to cover is the mo particle. I hope you found this video helpful. If there's anything that you want to ask, any sort of questions, go ahead and put them in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. Other than that, if there's any criticism, I'd love to take that too. I am new at this. Yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Keep studying Japanese. All right, everyone. Bye.